everybody. Welcome to summer school. It's awesome. It's already awesome because you're here. Look, I was cracking up because I'm watching these comments come through. Tech troublemaker, you're tripping. Hey, everyone, sit down and keep your hands to yourself because summer school is in session. I know that's right. We are live. Look, livestreamsummerschool.com is where you go if you want to get access to all of the calendar. So if you want to know when I'm going to be going live, because this is not my normal night. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But I first want to say hello and welcome Dwayne, Dr. Dwayne Wood, MD in the house. What's up? What's up? And welcome. I also see my friend at Talk Virtual. It is wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for showing up. Look, I showed up because I decided, and this is like a really crazy decision, but I decided in May, I had this idea, this seed of an idea about going live to share just tips and trends and information that would help you to really just go ahead and get yourself finally on camera. I've been seeing people that have been showing up in our Facebook group. I've been seeing people that have been joining our different communities, and they say they want to do live, but then they don't do live. And so I want to try to help you to remove those roadblocks and excuses and make sure that you have all the information you need. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to actually talk about Streamyard. That's our focus for tonight. But for the rest of the season, the summer school is in session. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about, typically on Mondays, we'll be talking about tutorials on every single live stream platform that I personally would promote and endorse for you. So there's several that are coming up. I think we have 7 total. Tonight is our very first. It's Streamyard, and I'll explain why in just a second. The other thing I want to share with you is that we're also going to be doing some mini master classes. So this Thursday, I'm set to talk to you about getting confidence, like getting out of your comfort zone and finally getting yourself on video. So if you don't want to miss out on a thing, if you want to learn to
stream like a boss,
now is a good time. Just join me each and every week here in the month of June and July for Live Stream Summer School. I'm super excited that we get a chance to do this with you. And let me share with you something really super special. So after I get done with each of the tutorials that we'll do at the beginning of the week, you're invited to join me over at our Stream Bosses Beach. So we're going to have a beach party at the end of each of these live streams. It won't be live here, but you'll be able to join me at the link that you see below so that we can hang out. You can use your camera or your microphone or both and ask any questions you have about the evening's topic. So tonight, again, we're going to focus on StreamYard, and that's what I'm set up here to talk to you about in just a few short minutes. But before I do, let me welcome you if this is your very first time. I am Tanya Smith, and I am the host of Stream Like a Boss TV. Each and every Thursday is typically when we go live. I'm just doing something a little bit different tonight, and I just want to welcome all of you that are showing up in the feed right now inside of YouTube. I am going to give you a few short seconds to go get your notepad and your pen and to make notes about what we're going to cover. I'm going to do a full walkthrough of StreamYard. So if you've got questions, if you've got comments, if there's anything you want to know, I want you to go ahead and put those into the chat. And I definitely want to know from you, what tool are you looking into using for your live streams? So pop that in the chat if there's a specific tool. And how about this? Instead of a specific tool, since we're going to cover all the tools for you, I want to know what feature is the top or most important to you. So give me your top 1 or 2 features that you absolutely want to have showing up in your live stream. And that way I can make sure we cover this over the course of the series, okay? Awesome, awesome. I see. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so my OGs in the house know that if you're an OG, if you watched our show before, you're going to type in hashtag OG. And if you're brand new to the show, you can type in hashtag newbie. Either way, I want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to give you that few minutes. That's right. Dwayne, Dr. Dwayne Wood, he said, get that pen and that notepad, and I'll be right back to introduce you to Streamyard, and we'll talk all about it, okay? All right, here we go. All righty, folks, let me get this screen pulled up so that you can make sure you're able to see it. All right, here we go. Streamyard. So I'm going to introduce you to the amazing platform they call Streamyard. I love this particular platform. It's one of the reasons why I thought I'd start with this. And if you love it too, I want to hear. I love it. Oh, Dan, you are awesome. Wouldn't miss you for the world. Oh, mwah. What's up, John Lacey in the house? Learn live streaming with John Lacey. This is my buddy too, who is amazing and also awesome when it comes to live streaming tips. As a matter of fact, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have an amazing panel, y'all, that's coming to the screen. They're going to come to Super Streamers Club, which is a part of this live stream series that we're doing. And they're going to be sharing with you their favorite tips and tricks and mistakes and things that we've done that you don't have to do as you're learning how to live stream yourself. We're also going to geek out on gear. So I'm super excited about that. Yes, Roy, you are now an OG. You are fam. You know this. Talk Virtual is a newbie though. So welcome, newbie, to the house. We appreciate you being here. Let me get you some confetti going. Hold on. I need to do that. Hype it up. Super excited that we have a newbie in the house. Thank you so much for watching. Let's talk about Streamyard, y'all. Let's talk about Streamyard. And I love it. So Tori's brain is here too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, Streamyard is one of the first platforms that I ever used. Now, I used the very first one. And when I say platform, let me be clear so that especially for you newbies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I initially started to go live a couple years ago, the reason why I decided to go live is because I wanted to figure out a way to really reach people online because all of my traditional and older ways were no longer working. I don't know if you've heard the crickets or seen the crickets yourself, right? In some of our Facebook groups and pages and all kinds of other social media that we churn out on the ready, right? But I was noticing that there was this dead silence happening. And I knew I had to make some decisions about what I wanted to do and how to be more visible. And so I made a decision that I would go live once a week for an entire year. And in that process, I experimented with a lot of different tools and platforms. And my initial tools, I was looking for free. And so I found a free OBS platform, which is still an amazing tool to this day. At the time, I was using a Windows PC. And so I was using OBS, but I wanted to do more with it. And I found for me, it was a little bit more complicated at the time than I wanted it to be. I was figuring things out, but it was slow going. There's still a lot that you can do with OBS. And John Lacey is he's one of the go-to people when it comes to being on OBS. And I love his tips and tricks on how to do it. Yeah, and Roy, you are an OG to live streaming in internet time. That's right. I love it. Okay, but what I was finding is that I wanted to do something a little bit more efficiently and still have a lot of versatility. So I wanted things like I wanted to be able to showcase comments going across the screen like you see me doing right now, right? I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to have guests come in and I didn't want any of that to be complicated. So I tried things like vMix and a couple of other ones that I won't even talk about right now. But the one where I landed and I started to really get my sea legs was Streamyard. Streamyard was the very first where I felt like, okay, wow, I'm in control. This is easy to set up and I can create a lot of amazing content using this tool. So I still say today that Streamyard is an amazing tool. And one of the things that I would probably say about it is that if you're brand new to streaming, this potentially could be a good starting point for you. But Dan, to your point about the comment, yeah, You're so funny. Let me pop this up. This is hilarious. So Dan put, StreamYard is so unstable. There's a warning not to eat Mexican food and stream with StreamYard. Okay, I am going to come to that because here's one of the things, and let me do this real quick here. One of the things I want you to know about me, in case you don't know this, because if you're a newbie, you may not know this. I'm never going to sit up here and try to give you all the 100% great things about any platform or tool. I want to give you a good balance of both. So I am going to share some things that I didn't like as much and don't like as much today, but I do want to share with you those robust features and things that I love as well. So I'm going to give you a balance, and I'm going to start with the goods, and then I'll share some of the things that make me a little because I do not use StreamYard regularly and consistently for my own streams. Right now, what you see me using actually is Ecamm Live. So like Dan said earlier, Ecamm fam in the house, that is where I am today. However, I try my best to still be familiar with almost all the platforms. That's why I'm going to be able to speak to you with truth and transparency over the next coming weeks about each of the platforms I share, because I literally have tried them all and I can tell you the ins and outs of all of them. So if you do have questions, I want you to definitely consider joining me in the beach party a little bit later after we're done with the show. Okay, so let's walk through a couple of things. So first and foremost, I want to share with you the live stream platform, StreamYard. This is their home page, right? So on the home page, they're going to have information about live video, and it's going to walk you through some of the features. And to be honest with you, a lot of these type of streaming platforms that are of similar ilk, right? A lot of the similar platforms like StreamYard have many of the same features. They just do things slightly differently. So I'm going to showcase for you a couple of the things that I like. And I'm also right now going to walk you behind the scenes so that you can actually see the back end of StreamYard. So that's why I'm using Ecamm, so that I can broadcast and show you at the same time what the back end of StreamYard looks like. Are you ready? Okay. Let's go on over there. Let's take a look. Okay, so we'll move this out of the way and let me go ahead and bump that up. So when you first get into StreamYard, and I will go back and talk a little bit about pricing too, because here's the thing about pricing. Pricing for a lot of these platforms is very similar as well. I don't think that any of them really compete on price. I think what they're trying to do is to outdo each other with the features, but even that is becoming very similar right now, which you'll see over the course of the next coming weeks when I talk about Restream and I talk about Be Live and I talk about what is now known as Streamlabs Talk Studio. There's several other ones that I definitely want to talk about. So I'll be making sure that I cover those things. Okay, so a couple of features that I want to share with you that I absolutely do love about StreamYard. And you can see some of the folks in the chat as well commenting back and forth who are also familiar with StreamYard. I love the clean, simplistic look of this dashboard. Okay. So one of the things that I absolutely was looking for when it came to finding a streaming platform is I wanted to find something that would be easy and efficient. Remember I said I tried a lot of different things and some of them were very complex and you had a huge learning curve. With StreamYard, not so much. Part of it, I think, is because of all this white space, so you can clearly know exactly where you need to go and what you need to do. So when you initially go into your new account that you create, what you will find is that you have access to, let me show you this navigation over here. There's a navigation. Now, what I'm using just for purposes of your knowledge so that you know how my different features are showing up, I'm using the basic version right now, okay? So I do not have the pro version of StreamYard because I really don't need it. But many of you may not need it either, because what I want you to know is that there's also a free version of StreamYard available to you. It's one of the things that makes this appealing for new people, is that there is a free version available for you to use. So know that. Now, what will happen if you get the free version is that you will have their watermark, I believe, and you will have limitations on the amount of time that you're able to stream. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can actually pull that up real quick here in their pricing and in their features. So notice this. So there's room for you as an individual streamer, which many of you are going to be. And then there's also business plans. You can pay on a monthly or a yearly basis. So at the time of this recording, these are the prices that you see. So I'm using the basic version right now for this demo. There's also the professional version for individuals. Okay. And there's a big distinct difference that I will tell you that I actually, I think will matter depending on the features that you want. That's why I was asking you to share in the chat if there are one or two features that you absolutely hope to have. What's on your wish list? Put that into the chat so I can give you some direction and steer you in the right to the right resource over the next coming weeks, okay? All right, so the free version, if you'll notice here, it has a lot of the studio features, but you do, as I thought, have the Streamyard logo in your streams, and the Streamyard logo is actually a duck. So if you don't mind having the duck in your streams, that's what you're going to have if you have the free version. There's also some limitations to streaming up to 20 hours per month on the free plan, but you do have the ability to be able to actually save recordings to their storage up to 2 hours a month, okay? And then you can also invite on-screen participants. So that's the thing about this free is it's still pretty robust because there are a lot of other streaming platforms that will not offer you a free version at all. So know that. So if you're brand new to live streaming, you need something that's free and that you can kind of get yourself, in the groove of learning a platform first, this could be a good space for you. Another reason why I like it for new people, besides the simplicity that I mentioned, besides the fact that they have a free plan, is they have a very supportive community. So the community of people that meet, I believe, on Sunday nights, and someone can confirm that if you're currently a StreamYard user, but I think on Sunday nights, they do have a community call. I thought I saw somebody with a comment about that earlier. But they have a community call, and I have a Facebook group that is very active. The thing I do appreciate about that, especially if you're new, is if you need someone to hold your hand to teach you the platform, if you have specific questions, if you want to know what new features and trends are coming up, if you have ideas and questions or requests for features, it's a good way for you to interact with the founders. Okay, so I absolutely love StreamYard for those reasons. And I'll also, let me do a quick walkthrough of some of the other features in the Pro plan to show you the differentiators, okay? So notice that in the professional plan, now I didn't talk about basic, but basic does have unlimited streaming, unlimited local recordings, meaning that you can record your stream and leave a copy on their storage, okay? So you can do that. Now, once you get to a certain point, honestly, I'll tell you this. This is my thought about recordings and localizing them to the storage of a platform. You can do that, but I also highly, strongly recommend to you that you keep a copy of your own recording on your systems. Always own your real estate. Don't turn it over to somebody else to take care of your content. But just know that they do have the recordings available to you. And yeah, to John's point about that community, remember I talked about how active they are. They do a giveaway with their built-in giveaway tool, which is pretty awesome. I think that's really neat. And it's called a town hall meeting. That's what I was looking for. Thank you for the verbiage there. A town hall meeting each and every week, and they're very open to customer feedback. I believe it is on Sunday evenings, U.S. time. Yes, he confirmed it too. Monday morning, Australian time, because that's where my friend John is located. So yeah, it is, it's good to have support. It's good to understand how to use any of these platforms. There's a couple of other things here too that I will show you in the back end in just a second. One big distinct difference that is new, this is fairly new, I'd say at least within the last 6 months to a year, is that StreamYard also does something called StreamYard On Air, which is a webinar version of their platform. I like this idea if you are someone who's going to be delivering webinar style training, right? Because you get a chance to actually brand the space according to how you want. And there's some other features that come with the whole on air thing, which I'll show you in a minute, a page where they have information about what's new. Okay. So from the standpoint of longevity, they've been around for some time. They definitely have sustainability. I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. I can't say the same about all the platforms, y'all, because we know, if you've been here for a while, you know that using certain apps and platforms, you might get used to them, you fall in love with them, and they disappear. I don't see that happening with Streamyard. I suspect that they'll be around for a long time. Okay, so let's do that back end demo, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. Now, what I will do is I'm actually going to go into a broadcast. Okay, and I'm going to show you quickly how to create a broadcast. When you're inside of the Streamyard system, you have the ability to be able to either broadcast a video live. You also have the opportunity, depending on the plan you've chosen, to share a pre-recorded video. So if you have pre-recorded something and you upload that video to be shared at a certain time and date as a live or on a live feed, you can do that now. When I first started using Streamyard, they didn't have that. The only ones that had that feature were Restream and OneStream Live, but Streamyard has that too now. So notice over here as well, on this sidebar, you're going to have videos, and this is where your video storage is located. Because I really don't use Streamyard regularly, you're not going to see a bunch of content in here, but you do see this one. And notice it's from February, so it's still here. So you get a certain amount of hours depending on the feature or the plan that you've chosen. That's how you get, I'm laughing at your comments here. That's how you get access to the storage and how many hours that you purchased depending on the plan. There's also destinations. Let me say hi to Carlos Tacos in the house. What's up, sir? Love it. Love that you're here. Okay, so destinations. When you go to destinations, here's one of the things that I think is a must feature for any streaming platform. So if I were building a wish list, one of the main things would be I want the power to multi-stream. That means I want the ability to be able to go live not only to YouTube, not only to Facebook, but I want to go live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at the same time. So multi-streaming platforms like StreamYard give you that ability, and you basically are going to add all the possible destinations that you think you might want to use right in here, okay? I have added, look, Facebook, multiple pages, a group, a LinkedIn profile, YouTube channel, and YouTube Shorts. Check that out. Twitter, Restream, which is another service that also multi-streams, although I don't have a need to use Restream in here. And then even Instagram Reels. If you have access to certain API abilities in your Instagram, it will give you that ability to be able to broadcast to your Instagram as a live user as well. But not everyone has that feature yet on your Instagram. You'll want to check in your Instagram account to see where it says create. Does it give you access to be able to do a live video? Because then, if so, you'll be able to connect your StreamYard to that. And that goes for just about any of the streaming platforms. You first must have the access and ability to be able to get approval for Instagram or from Instagram in order to be able to do that live. Okay. And I don't know the answer to that, Dan. You are a hot mess. Okay. So members, this is where I have one seat left. So as a basic user, I can add a team member that can help behind the scenes as I do my live streams, but I'm just going to keep it as me at this point in time. So basic is sufficient for somebody like me. If you're doing your live streams solo, you'll be able to do most of what you want with the basic plan. Now, if you want that webinar feature I mentioned to you, you certainly will want to look into the professional level plan, which, by the way, the pricing is about even to some of the other platforms. Okay, so let's go into broadcast, and I'm going to show you what this looks like on the back end. So pretending that I am actually setting up a broadcast, and once I get in here, I'm going to turn on a different camera so you can kind of really get a feel for what this looks like. Oh, let me back up. Let me back up and do one thing, because you didn't notice how to create that broadcast, right? I know, man. John said it. I don't know who you have to bribe at Instagram to get it. I tried it for my phone too, and it was horrible. So I'm thankful that I have access now on a desktop for Instagram. Yes. And thank you for that too, Dan. It might be worth noting you need a vertical setup as it doesn't support horizontal integration. So yes, you definitely will need to choose a vertical layout, but we'll get to that in just a minute. And actually, I'm not even sure, but we're going to see in just a second, because it's been a minute since I've been inside of Streamyard. I'm going to see if they have a vertical layout now. I know a couple of other ones that do. I don't know if Streamyard does, but I think that they do. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. If you're inside of the broadcast tab and you want to create a new one, here's what you're going to do is you click create, and then you're going to go through the different options. Now, let me see if I need to blow this up a little bit. I don't know if this is teeny tiny for you all, so let me try to blow that up a little bit. But notice that you have 3 different options. So live stream using the studio or pre-recorded video. Remember, I showed you could do that. There's also recording only. So if you just want to record, you don't have any intentions of going live, then you can use your StreamYard platform to do that. And then there's the on-air webinar, which I was telling you, I really love the idea of this because it prevents you from having to have multiple spaces that you are paying a subscription fee for to go and broadcast your live training. Some people have Zoom, a webinar jam, or something like that, and you have your live streaming platform. So I do think that there is beauty in the fact that you can use your streaming platform as a webinar space as well. And the thing that I like about the on-air webinar is that you can actually create registration pages so that people can register for your event and then attend and show up just like any other type of webinar platform. So note that that's available, and see how it has the little star there? It's going to basically tell me you got to upgrade because I'm on the basic plan. So you need to upgrade, I think, to a minimum of the professional level in order to have this access. Okay, so let's go on inside of one that I've already created. I just created a basic video. Okay, so when you first show up and you're ready to go ahead and broadcast, it's going to give you these windows that you see right now. And so what it will do, and I'm going to switch over here so I'm not all in the way. What it will do is it will give you a mic and camera check. Now, this is similar to most of the streaming platforms, so I want you to get familiar with this, as it's something that you're going to want to check no matter which platform you decide to go with. You want to check and make sure you've selected the microphone of choice and you've selected the camera of choice, because you may have multiples. If you're someone like me, I've got several microphones and several cameras. And even if you're just starting out, what tends to happen is probably selecting the default. And what you need to do is that nice, handy new microphone that you purchased and plugged into your computer, you need to choose that one. So the place you're going to find this information is under Settings. So when you click on Settings, it's going to pop up a new window. See, I'm using a different camera right now. It's going to pop up a window where you'll be able to then select the camera. So you can choose right here. And you also choose resolution. I remember I was working with one of my clients who had tried a new streaming platform, and she was freaking out because she's like, oh my God, like it's got my face too close and it's not getting my whole area, and I needed to show the whole scene. Well, what was happening is she had not yet selected the proper definition. It automatically defaulted to standard definition, which is 480 pixels. So watch the difference here. Watch what it does. See how it enlarged me? And I really wanted to capture the scene and give me better resolution. So as a basic plan owner, high definition 720 pixels is available to you, not 1080 pixels. 1080 pixels is available if you have the professional plan or higher, or one of the business plans would be higher. Okay. All right. So you also have the ability to be able to mirror your camera, which I never do. If you've been using Zoom, you are familiar with that term. What it does is it flips your video so that it looks, see how it's doing that right there? It's flipping. Okay. I never really use that. I'm good with the way that it comes by default. But if that's freaking you out, if looking at yourself a certain way is freaking you out, check on the mirror of my camera box and see if that's helpful. Okay, let's walk you through a couple of other things. And yeah, I know exactly. John said you do not want to accidentally use your laptop built-in mic. I just had this conversation earlier today with one of my stream bosses. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, and so there's a whole conversation about OnlyFans, which I don't use, I'm not familiar with. But yeah, if you have RTMP, you can use RTMP with Streamyard and a bunch of other different types of platforms. We'll get into that a little bit, but I don't want to get too advanced because this is really a high-level tutorial. If you have more advanced questions, then I'm going to encourage you to come over to streambosses.cafe/beach. Come to the beach party after this to find out more information. Okay, back over to the demo. Okay, so let me pull it back up this way so you can really see the screen. Okay, audio. So general information would be that whole high definition thing. You can choose it right here or in another box. And then shift videos up, all of this stuff. You really just play around with that and get a feel for how you want your presentation to look, the presentation of you on screen, because these things will change some of those features. Audio is basically where you are selecting which microphone and which speaker you want to use. Now, if you're using headphones, you want to make sure that the speaker reflects that. The microphone is going to be, remember what we were talking about, I don't want my default mic. I want my nice, Shure mic that I'm using to show up. Now, I also have something called a Rodecaster Pro 2, which is a mixer. And again, that's a bit more advanced. If you have questions about that, come see me afterwards at the beach party. All right, so echo cancellation, automatically adjusting. Here's what I would suggest. If you are brand new to this thing, I want you to simply do the bare minimum when it comes to changing things here. Now, I did want to show you that this has a virtual background available to you. I don't love it, so I'm going to be honest with you, because it's just like Zoom in that it fools people into thinking, hey, you can do these virtual background changes and it's going to look cool. But I want to show you why it doesn't look cool. And it doesn't look cool for those of you who use green screen on Zoom but really don't have a green screen. What it does is it gives you that wavy look. So see all of that going on, how it's waving. I mean, it could look okay, but it's cutting off parts of my hair. I just don't love that. Now, I will tell you, I do actually have a true green screen. So when I used to use StreamYard more consistently at the beginning, I would check this box right here. And I would encourage you, if you're going to use green screen, use a real green screen, like use a green screen, invest in one, or use a green sheet as your green screen. That way you can click this box right here that says, I have a green screen. And when you put your background up, if you've got really solid lighting, and that's a whole other video that we need to do again. If you got really solid lighting, it's going to look good. Like you'll look like you're in the room. But if not, then you're going to have that funky thing going on here, which I'm not so in love with. That doesn't look like pro quality. And we want you to look like a pro. That's why we're teaching you these things. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yep, and John said it too. I use OBS Studio for my real green screen. Yeah, there's certain spaces that you will actually be able to. Ah, look, we got a surprise. We got a surprise comment in here. What's up, Streamyard in the house? This app looks familiar. I know. We are doing a walkthrough of your platform. All right. Let me get on back in here, but that's fun. I love that you guys are here. Okay. So, virtual background. So, like I said, don't love it if you don't have a real green screen. That's just my personal preference. If you don't mind looking like the little wavy guy at the the used car dealership, then go for it. Because they do have the feature available. And again, it's similar to the one that Zoom has available too. All right, let's take a quick peek at recording. So when you go into these features, here's where you have an option. Now, this is fairly new, and I love that they now have this in StreamYard because I've been using this in some of the other platforms that I have. But now when you have different guests, so it's not just you, I'm going to show you something, or I'll talk to you a little bit about this. When you have guests, and some of you have been around for a while, so you've seen, hey, no problem. We're going to let you do your thing. Thanks for showing off our product. Of course. Of course. I love it. So here's the thing. This is what I would share with you about local recording so that you know what it is, okay? When you have a guest that is coming into your studio, your virtual studio, and you sometimes might end up having, I don't know, some people that don't have as great a quality, or somehow the sound is a little bit lower than yours. It's not really even. What you can do if you're recording locally for each participant, which I'm going to show you that drop down or that box in a second, what you can do is after the show, you can go back in or have your tech or your team member go in and edit each of those audios so that they sound more similar, and then put everything back together. That's one purpose or reason why you could do that. Another thing is when you have individual video recordings and audio for each guest, so for yourself, and then you've got guest A and you've got guest B over here. If you've got 3 people participating, but you want to create a reel or a shorts or TikTok or anything like that, if you're creating short video clips, it gives you a cleaner version of that camera so that you don't have like all the different windows in the way. So you can create that true vertical short, right? That's super clean and just has the camera view. So that would be one reason why I would highly suggest that you may want to use this local recording feature. Now, it takes up a lot of space, so you want to pay attention to the space that you have on your system. If you got a really old computer, that's not going to be super great. Okay. So that's exactly right. John just summed it up for me. If you have separate recordings, you can remix and repurpose. And that is the beauty of being able to do that local recording thing. Okay. So hotkeys, these are shortcuts that you can create on your computer so that you can get to different types of, you can give different commands, right, to StreamYard. So if you're somebody who's kind of a keyboard commando and you love to be able to use shortcuts on your keyboard to get to different spaces, similar to like a Stream Deck, right? But this is just using your camera. I mean, not your camera, but your keyboard. This is where you can set up those different keyboard shortcuts. Finally, you have the guest feature, and right here, you have the ability now, because this is new, I did see this popping up not that long ago, guests can stream to their own destinations. So while you're streaming to your different YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you can also give your guest a link that will allow them to stream the same stream to their YouTube channel, their LinkedIn space, their Facebook, right? So I first saw that feature in Restream, and now I'm seeing that be duplicated in a lot of other spaces or streaming services as well. So I like that they have that. There's a couple of other things in here that you can look forward to, including a green room if that's something you want, but you do need to have a growth or a business plan to access that. I'm not going to go into detail about that. I'm going to take you on into the back end. So when we enter the studio, this is something that's really super important. Super important. And yeah, I know, right? John said, if you can't remember the keyboard shortcuts, put them on your Stream Deck. The Stream Deck would be more preferred, honestly, but not everybody has a Stream Deck. So if you don't and you're good with your keyboard, you can certainly use those keyboard shortcuts. Okay, now once you're inside of the studio, what you're going to find usually is that this is actually a black screen. It's just colorful because I already had a background loaded that is from my show, but you can actually upload different branded features over here. So if you want to change the background, you get to add your own background here. So look, I'll show you one from my Stream Like a Boss TV show, but you can switch this up and add your own backgrounds, okay? They do not have, to my knowledge, available backgrounds inside. What I do know is that there are other platforms that have given you graphics that you can use, but that is not the case, to my knowledge, at least, for Streamyard. So you'll have to bring your own backgrounds. You'll also need to add different countdown timers and intros and outros. I don't know if this particular one was already here. See how they have that one there? But I added my own different videos to Streamyard. I think that actually does come with Streamyard, if I remember correctly. But that's just one. So if you want your own countdown timers, you want your own branded intro and outro clips, you can upload those video clips here. It will give you information about the sizing that you need, so 1280 by 720, and the maximum file size is 200 megabytes. So you can see that when you hover over the little question marks, it'll tell you that. The other thing you'll be able to do is add overlays, and you can add logos as well, and you can add your own branded colors. So one thing you may have noticed is that I am not showing up in the scene. If you don't see yourself in the scene, you need to add your camera to the stream. So voila, here we are now on the stream. And I'm using one of my less great quality. This is not a great camera, but it's okay. But you kind of get the feel for what I'm talking about because I'm using two cameras right now. But what this will do is this will give you the ability to be able, once you've pulled yourself into the scene, now you can see yourself as you will look to your audience, okay? And when you're over here on the far right, you can test out different themes and headlines. I'm going to show you something that we'll do. I'll just add a comment or two. Let's see if we can add something. So here's a sample comment. Right? And when you have that up, you'll be able to see the difference by choosing different themes. So see how it's looking different depending on the theme that I choose. So you can choose the one that is preferred by you. All of the ones on StreamYard actually show up pretty big, like they're huge, which is not always my favorite, but I mean, it is what it is. I like that you are able to change the colors here to your own brand, at least change one color. And then it's going to give you either that black, that standard black, or the white as your complementary color. Okay. This is the logo that I was mentioning, the duck. But I have my own logos that are added in here. Now, if you have the free version, remember that you will have the duck as the watermark. That's what's going to show up. The other thing that I'll share with you really quickly here too is that you can add overlays. So I'm going to remove this just for sake of having more space there, but I want to show you something under brand. Overlays kind of give you a little bit more of an extra twist to things. So I have one that I've added here that reminds people to like and subscribe. And by the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed to this video, it's time to go ahead and do that right now. Let's get to it. I also have this one. These are GIFs. So notice how they're animated. So you're able to add some. Again, there is a limitation on the size. So if you have someone create one in Fiverr or you find some out there at the internet stores, then just make sure that you note the size of that GIF before you try to upload it, because you might get a max error, right? It's exceeded the maximum limit of size. But notice all the ones that I've added in here. So there are some really fun things that you can do with this. Honestly, I like StreamYard for the ability for you. It gives you the ability to be able to look like a pro and to do, I know he said the duck. it gives you the ability to look like a pro in a short amount of time. Okay, because you're not having to there's not a huge learning curve for this app. You don't have to worry about, for instance, as you'll see with some of the future ones I'm going to do, with this, as soon as you popped into the dashboard, you can see every choice that you have. You see its comments, its banners, brand, and private chat. Private chat is if you have guests and you want to chat with people who are inside of your space in the studio, like you're having a private conversation that people who are watching from the YouTube audience or your other audiences they can't see. Thank you so much for the like and the subscribe talk virtual. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me give you some hype. Let me give you some love. Thank you. Thank you for the like. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, let's do a couple really quick things, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. But I will open it up for questions where? At the beach. We got to go to the beach. Okay. Yes, and you're so right. Okay, so this is a good point that you just shared. John said, I think you can have multiple brand accounts in StreamYard too. Like you see that mine is the Get Noticed with Video one. I believe that is the case. I know for sure you can change folders and brands in some of these. I'm not so sure on the basic plan that I'm seeing that I'm capable of doing that in here. Yes, I am. Thank you, John. So here's what John was talking about. When you, when you go into brand, notice how I chose the pink, my raspberry pink. That's my signature color, right? And I made all these different choices and I have these different video clips in the background, okay? But what if, and this is something that was a reality for me, one of the things that initially I had going is I had multiple shows and I was doing work for other brands. So doing work for other brands, like I had a brand that I was working with that had a green and black were their colors. Well, they didn't want my pink showing up and I didn't want to have to change this every single time. So here's what John was talking about. You can click on this arrow up here and you can choose new brand. And that way you can have a whole separate brand with different colors, different video clips, the intros and outros, and a different style altogether. So that is definitely handy and is something that you will see as a common feature amongst many of these streaming platforms, okay? So I do love that. You can rename it, you can delete brands if you're no longer doing work for a company, or if you've merged all of your different multiple personalities into one, then you can delete them and clean them up. But you do have that option of being able to create different brands within the same space. So yes, I agree. It is definitely super handy. Okay, a couple more things and then we'll switch on over to some stuff or to questions for you. So tickers, this is something else that is very common. Okay, very common. Default tickers. Actually, I think I named it that. So you can set up folders for different banners that you want to go across your screen. Okay. So I created a banner that is not going across the screen scrolling, but it's just static, right? Streamlikeaboss.tv. But then I also created some that do scroll across. So look at this one. When I click on show, it shows up at the bottom and now it's scrolling across the screen. Very cool. Again, you're looking to create an experience for the people who are on the other side of the camera. And one of the ways that you can do that is by using really cool ticker boxes and banners. Now, you get a chance to change this to whatever you like it to be. You can add as many as you want or delete them if you're not using them anymore. One way that I was using them at some point is I would go in and make my notes about the specific show I was doing. So my message points, instead of me having to refer to my video script, which was in a different app, I could come in here instead of using that app and just pop up message point 1, set a clear goal, message point 2, keep things simple, right? So I used it for that purpose. But you can use these however you choose to. I hope this has been helpful to you, at least to give you some ideas on what you can do with StreamYard. There's a whole lot. But again, if I had to break it down and tell you what I think are the best things about it, and I am going to speak a little bit about the thing that I'm not a fan of, but the thing I love about it most is if you're new, you're fresh out the gate and just learning how to live stream, you want the support of community, you want a handy set of tutorials because they have a really solid library of tutorials on how to not only use StreamYard, but also how to do live stream video, period. Like there's a lot of tutorials and a lot of information out there that they've made available to you in a very organized and simple way. I love that it has the very clean and easy to navigate dashboard so that you know exactly where you need to go and what you need to do next. It's very simple. It's not complex. It doesn't have a lot of extra crud all over this place. It does not, to my knowledge, have dark theme yet. So for those of you who are looking for like the dark theme, I just know that they have the white theme as the background for their dashboard. Some of the other ones that I'll showcase to you have dark theme, and you'll see what I mean when I say that. But I do love that it has all that white space because I think that it's easier on the eye, especially if you're brand new and trying to figure things out. Okay. Now, one thing I don't necessarily love is I don't love that the quality of StreamYard, once you're done and you have that recorded video in hand, I don't love that the quality, to me, does not come out the way that I would like. So there are other platforms that I think have a cleaner, nicer, more crisp look. And that's even with the 1080p, because I've tested it. The 1080p resolution, not my favorite. So StreamYard folks, if you're there and you're listening, I would love for that to be something that gets updated at some point. I'm sure that it will, because I believe that they listen to their viewers and their audience, and that's why those Sunday meetings, those Sunday town halls are so incredible, because they're listening and they're implementing over time. But I personally have had some challenges when it comes to the end product. When I get the resolution and I look at the video afterwards, I'm not always impressed with the quality of it. Okay, the other thing that I will do, and that, if I had to give you anything else negative, I don't really have anything else negative. I saw some comments that were being shared in the YouTube feed, but I haven't had any bad experiences other than the resolution. I've also not had any downtime. Like if I tried to broadcast, at least not that I can think of, I haven't had a bunch of glitchy moments where it shut off or something like that. But I have heard people that have said it was unstable for them. Once I upgraded my internet speed and I also upgraded my computer and I did all the things that I could do on my end, I haven't had that problem. Really, it's been very rare and infrequent with any streaming platform. One thing you do want to be careful of is if you're streaming to multiple spaces at once. So if I were streaming tonight to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., it does take more bandwidth. It does put a stress on your computer, and depending on what you have, if you have a newer computer with the capacity to be able to handle that, it may be a little easier. Not only the capacity, but if you also have the internet speeds that will survive that, that's a good thing. But if you don't, and you're trying to broadcast to 5 different spaces, it can be a strain. It could take a toll, and the streaming platform, no matter what you use, could become unstable. So I just want to share that as a thought as you're thinking through how you want to do these lives. I can tell you all of that from experience. So what I would suggest is, if you're considering looking at something like StreamYard, I would suggest, let me pop my link back up. I have my link at the very top. That's my affiliate link, tanyasmith.link/StreamYard. I would suggest and recommend that you experiment with the free version, try it from your laptop, and see what type of resolution you get. What's the end product look like? How easy and simple is it for you to get around and to navigate? And do you like using the Streamyard platform. If you like it or love it, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Here's something I did want to point out on their site that I hadn't seen, I hadn't really paid attention to before, but I did tonight. They have a page where they talk about product updates, and there's some really cool stuff in here. So I love that they have added this automatic, they highlight and star YouTube super chat. So if you're a monetized person on your YouTube channel and you have super stickers and access to all that kind of stuff, they will give you specific highlights for interactions that are taking place in your feed on your YouTube channel. So that's pretty cool. They also give you the ability, as I mentioned before, to have that on air, the webinar tool, branding customization, and something new that I know I have not played with for some time, but they give you the ability to be able to trim parts of your live stream and put those directly from your video library. You can share those to TikTok. That's pretty awesome. Who knew? I think that there's not a lot of versatility to it. When I did play with it a little bit, I remember that you didn't have a lot of flexibility, but I think that it is a great way to start. It's a great option for you to be able to have. Yeah, I love it. Miss Valerie Hatcher in the house. What's up? Found it to be easy to use from a record-only perspective. Glad you suggested it to me as a newbie. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you tried it out and that it worked out well for you. There was one other thing. This is it. This is what I was looking for. Custom layout. So this is cool. This is something that could set them apart from some of the other streaming platforms that play in the same space, is that now you are able to create custom stream layouts. So what that's good for is if you are, for instance, you want to showcase what you're talking about using screen share, you have multiple guests and you want them to be laid out a certain way. Instead of being restrictive, StreamYard allows you now to be able to move those different windows around to your liking. I think that's pretty cool. Now, I didn't test that out and showcase that here because we're just about to come up on time, but know that that's available to you. I think that that's available to you even if you have the basic plan, but you'll probably have to play with it and double check that for me. Let's see if I can see it real quick and I can tell you. Okay. Yeah, I can't tell that quickly. But I can tell you that on the StreamYard YouTube channel, they have a lot of information about that. So here's what I'm going to do. For those of you who actually have questions and you want to know a little bit more about StreamYard, or you got a question about something else that's a little bit more advanced based on what we talked about, then I want you to remember that I'm going to be over here for about 15 minutes. So at the top of the hour, I'm going to jump on over into the beach party area. I'm going to show you what this looks like so that you know. This is where we're going to be spending some time for the next 15 minutes or so. You'll be able to pop up. Look, there's John. He's already over there. You can come hang out with me and turn on your camera if you choose to, or just turn on your mic and ask your question out loud. It is so much fun to play in this space. I use an app called Go Brunch for this with my Stream Bosses Academy. We've got a lot of different rooms to explore, and it's just pure fun. So come hang out with me over there if you've got questions or you just want to comment on something that we talked about tonight inside of the live video. This is the first of several installments of our summer school. So if you didn't get registered for Livestream Summer School, go ahead and go to livestreamsummerschool.com. That way you can get reminders, right? And who knows, you might win a special prize for showing up and for registering, right? Go to livestreamsummerschool.com. That will give you our full calendar for June and July, because we're going to be doing this each and every week, sometimes twice a week, where we're going to showcase to you different tutorials about various live streaming platforms. And we're going to talk about the things that are most important to you, especially as a new person who is starting to learn how to live stream. I'm going to be bringing on a very fancy group of folks for our Geek Out on Gear panel, which is going to take place in July. And in June, we're going to have a panel that's talking about beginner's paradise. Like, what are all the things as a beginner you will need to know and want to know about going live? All right, folks, if you failed to click that like button, now is a really good time for you to do that, because we want to know that you are loving the channel and loving what we're teaching. I'm super excited and thrilled that I get a chance to be here with you as always. And I hope that you will follow us on YouTube at Tanya Smith. And then for most of my other platforms, I'm at Get Noticed with Video, which you'll also find our website to be getnoticedwithvideo.com for more information. Good evening to you as well. Miss Chocolate Quilts in the house. We are about to wrap this thing up. Thank you for confirming, Valerie, that she has basic, and yes, the custom layouts is available on Streamyard for that. So that is very cool. I hope that you will take the time to choose one or more of the platforms we're going to be talking about and get started. We're here to remove the roadblocks, all the things you've been telling yourself. If it's confidence, if it's ideas for content, if it's platforms, I'm here sharing all of this stuff with you for free for the next couple of months. That's crazy. And if you need more help and support, we got it with Stream Bosses Academy and with some of our other programs and services. So join me on over here. We're heading over to the beach right now, and I'm going to pop that up one more quick time. We'll be there for about 15 minutes. streambosses.cafe/beach. And I appreciate you for being here this evening. Thanks so much for listening. And I hope I will see you on Thursday for our mini class on how to get out of your comfort zone and get on camera. Take good care, and we'll see you over on the beach or later next week.